What's up, you guys? This is Mcsquee from Mcsqueegaming, and today we're going to talk about the Affliction Warlock PvP situation going on right now. We're going to talk about talents, glyphs, we're going to talk about stat priority, rotation, and then my current opinions on shit, and then even a little bit about my transmog, because I have been asked a couple of times, even though I know a lot of people know about it, I have been asked several times, where the fuck did you get that? Because it's awesome. And it is. I love it. Plus I have the green fire, which doesn't currently apply to me, but having green fire plus the green transmog is nice. Let's go ahead and dive into this right now. So here we are, just at the training dummies here in Stormwind now. First of all, I'm going to just kind of address Affliction and what your goal is as an Affliction Warlock for maybe some people who aren't totally aware. So, as an Affliction Warlock, what do you want to do? Well, my biggest tip would be dot everything, by which I mean apply every dot that you can to every possible target within your near proximity. So, say you're in a battleground, you're around a whole shit ton of people, my tip to you would be use the rotation I'm going to show you for your dots on every person you possibly can. That includes pets, minions, or well, not minions, but pets, guardians, whatever. Throw it on everything because you want to get that nightfall proc as often as possible. Now, here's what we're going to talk about first. Stat priority. So the current Warlock stat priority goes in the following order, okay? Mastery is equal to Multistrike, and then Intellect, which is equal to PvP power, and then Haste, which can also be equal to your PvP power, Critical Strike, which is equal to Haste and PvP power, and Versatility, which is equal to PvP power, Haste, and Critical Strike. Okay, so here is it on the screen and everything. You can take a look at it, pause the video, whatever you need. I'll also put it in the description. Now, what's important is you remember that. Now, that is only going to really apply to you, honestly, in the words of, well, me and then my friend Hublot, or Relina. He's a rogue or a death knight that I often run with, one of my best friends. He'll be in plenty of the videos, don't worry. He and I both agree that before you're actually in your Conquest PvP set, you don't need to worry too badly. I mean, if you absolutely have to do other gear just for item level, things like that, whatever, it's okay. You know, just throw it on, it's okay. But once you're in your Conquest set, certainly worry about that rotation. Here it is, one more time, on the screen. Like I said, it'll be in the description too. Now, that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the actual rotation for dot opening and for bursting, in my opinion at least. So, here we are, we're going to go ahead and target this guy. Now, when we're on a target, the first thing you want to do, of course, is apply your damage over time effects. So, do not macro this because you have instant cast and it's not going to work. The first thing you want to do, Unstable Affliction. Unstable Affliction makes, or it's basically just a really low damage over time effect. It's not necessarily your highest, but it does make it so that the other dot effects that you have, if someone tries to dispel them, then they take instant shadow damage and they're silenced for 4 seconds. So you can really get down on the people who are trying to dispel your dots. So we're going to open with Unstable Affliction. Okay, so now that's applied to the target, and as you can see, it's ticking a little bit. It's not ticking for a whole lot. Like, it's not anything to be sitting there like, oh shit, take a look at it. But it's there. Okay, so you want to do Unstable Affliction, and then you want Agony. Agony is your highest hitting damage over time effect, and it stacks up to 10 times. You always want to keep it at 10 stacks, because if you keep it at 10 stacks, the most damage will be applied. Whenever it's about to fall off, make sure you re-up it, keep it at 10. So right now, we're getting to 10. I'm going to go ahead and re-up that. So we want Unstable Affliction, Agony, and then finally Corruption. Now Corruption, right here, it's not super high damage, but it does have an 8.5% chance to generate a free soul shard each time it ticks. So basically, almost 1 in every 10 times you'll get the proc called Nightfall, which is a free soul shard entirely. So, now that we've got that down, I'm going to show you putting them on multiple targets. So, quickly, you got to go for it. Unstable Affliction right into Agony and then Corruption. Next target. Next target. And you keep those all applied at all times. You gotta watch them. When the one's gonna fall off, make sure you re-up it. Re-up. Re-up. And then whenever you know that a target should not be dispelled, you can spread those Unstable Afflictions to those targets as well. So there those are. You can also use Seed of Corruption if you want some light AoE. It's not a huge deal, it just explodes like so. Now finally, the last thing that we're going to go into is your burst. Now, I have heard a lot of Affliction Warlocks actually in conversation with me attempt to say, hey, we don't really have a super, you know, burst. Yes, you do. Oh, you do. And you melt people like a snowman with a blowtorch, and it's fun. So here we go. So what you want to do, of course, first of all, actually, let me throw this down. I've got a macro for you that will help out. My burst macro. Now that is /use Primal Combatant's Badge of Adaptation and /cast Dark Soul Misery. So those are the two things you want to pop. You want to pop your damage trinket and you want to pop Dark Soul. Now when you pop them, it's going to be the first thing that you do, and it's going to super increase your damage, mainly just because it's going to increase your haste, which will increase the speed of your ticks and the damage of your ticks. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and dot them up. Everything we got. Pop the burst. And give him a haunt, and then soul burn, then haunt, and then start pulling his soul out. As you can see, this is hitting a ridiculous amount of times, and it's just getting obscene. This is usually what I use when I'm actually going for a kill in a rated battleground or something like that. Is I use that, like, I dot everything up, and then if there's a specific target that needs to be killed, I use that rotation, and they will die every time. Now, the reason why I said soul burn before haunt is because if you soul burn and then haunt, it makes your haunt increase the damage of your damage over time effects by an additional 20 per second, or 20% for 30 seconds. So basically, you're getting a 50% buff instead of your original 30 from haunt. Also, haunt, if done correctly, hits like a fucking freight train, so you don't really need to worry about that. That's just gonna happen. That is the basics of our rotation. Okay, now a little bit out of the orthodox, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into my talent selections now. Now for talents, for Affliction Warlocks, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's not super, you know, oh man, should I really take between the two of these? Very infrequently do you actually have that, any sort of debate like that. Okay, so first of all, the tier 15s, I chose Dark Regeneration, but your choices are Dark Regeneration, Soul Leech, or Harvest Life. Now, Dark Regeneration is a heal over time effect that I'll pop right now that will basically just keep on ticking up heals on you that can be really good in really sticky situations that you might find yourself in where you're just like, oh, fuck, and then you have that. Soul Leech. Now, Soul Leech is, I used to use it in Mists of Pandaria. It makes it so that when you use Drain Soul and Haunt, you and your pet get a little like mini bubble that absorbs 30% of damage that you take for 15 seconds. It used to be a little bit better. Not really the best decision anymore. And then Harvest Life increases the damage done by your Drain Life and basically doubles the healing. Now that's okay, but it's not as, you know, important really. At least in my opinion, for PvP situations, Dark Regeneration is the way to go. Okay, so moving on to the tier level 30. The choices are Howl of Terror, Mortal Coil, and Shadow Fury. Now I use Shadow Fury because it's an 8-yard AoE stun effect for 3 seconds, which is nice. The cooldown is only 30 seconds as well, and you get your 30-yard range. It's really good when you really need to get a target to stop, or when you need to get multiple targets to stop DPSing something, or stop focusing a healer, focusing a flag carrier, or something like that. It's pretty useful. Or to get somebody off you. I mean, hell, I get rogues and monks and warriors and death knights and lions and tigers and bears off me all the time with that shit. Mortal Coil is what I used to use. 45-second cooldown. It incapacitates a target for 3 seconds, and it heals you for 11% of your total maximum health. So, I mean, it's okay. It used to be better. Again, it got nerfed. So Shadow Fury is a little bit better of a decision. And Howl of Terror, we used to just have. They gave it to us for a while. Just all Warlocks had it, and that's when it was worth it. But now it's not. It's like a 10-yard AoE fear thing that you can use on a 40-second cooldown. Damage will cancel it, and if you get hit by a damaging attack, it reduces the cooldown of Howl of Terror by 1 second, which is kind of strange. But it's definitely not as good as Shadow Fury, really, because you just can't control it as much. Shadow Fury has so much control. So, Shadow Fury. And then for the level 45 tier talents, you've got Soul Link, Sacrificial Pact, or Dark Bargain. Soul Link basically just, it takes 20% of the damage that you take, and it splits it between you and your demon, and 3% of the damage that you deal heals you and your demon. And if you don't have a demon, it gives you a health buff. So, I mean, it's okay. If you use Supremacy, I would take Soul Link. But I don't. I use Sacrifice, so I take Sacrificial Pact. That gives me, well, it sacrifices 20% of my health because I have no demon, and it gives me it takes 400% of that sacrificed health and makes it a bubble on you. That is awesome. And you can use it while you're being stunned. Dark Bargain you can also use while being stunned. It's like a bubble that prevents all damage for 8 seconds, but it's on a 3-minute cooldown now. That's been nerfed again. And 50% of the damage that you take goes on an 8-second dot that will all affect you within 8 seconds, so that hurts like hell. Not a very good decision, can actually end up killing you more than it helps you, especially after the nerf from down to 3 minutes now to cast it. That's ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. So Sacrificial Pact, if you take Sacrifice, but if you take Grimoire of Supremacy, take Soul Link. Now next, this can be a little bit iffy for the tier level 60s, but there's Blood Horror, Burning Rush, and Unbound Will. Blood Horror makes it so that you cast it on yourself, it lasts for a minute, and it's a 1-minute cooldown, and anyone who hits you with a melee attack gets incapacitated for up to 4 seconds. And it's got 1 charge, and it costs 5% of your maximum health to cast. That's not too big of a deal. It's pretty good. I use it to get out of a lot of situations. Burning Rush is dumb. It's just a speed buff that actually hurts you as you're running. So I think that's kind of silly. And then there's Unbound Will, which, purges magic effects, movement impairing, and loss of control at the cost of 20% of your maximum health on a 2-minute cooldown. That's pretty crazy, actually. That's a bit much. So, in my opinion, Blood Horror is a decision to make. Now, for tier 75, these can be made very variably. There's Grimoires of Supremacy, Service, or Sacrifice. I usually take Sacrifice. I like the 25% damage buff, and it also regenerates 2% of my maximum health every 8 seconds just because I have it. And when you cast the buff on yourself, it lasts an hour, of course. 30-second cooldown, doesn't really matter. Or if you summon another demon, of course, it's going to fall off. Now there's Supremacy, which just gives you access to the better demons. And Service lets you call out a second demon for 25 seconds. Very few people that I know have ever used this. It's kind of, I don't think it's really worth it. Supremacy is really, really good. I just prefer Sacrifice. Like, with Supremacy, you can take the DPS pet, the Observer, or you can take the Shivera, and she just puts people to sleep for 7 seconds randomly, and that's awesome, and you can control it, of course. But either Supremacy or Sacrifice. And like I said, if you take Sacrifice, take Sacrificial Pact. If you take Supremacy, take Soul Link, because they'll work together better. Now for 90, this is a no-brainer, but I'll tell you them anyway. Archimonde's Darkness, Killjaden's Cunning, or Manaroth's Fury. Archimonde's Darkness all the way. It gives your Dark Soul 2 charges. And if anybody who doesn't know what Dark Soul is, Dark Soul Misery for Affliction, increase all of my haste by 30% for 20 seconds, and I've got 2 charges now, and each recharge is 2 minutes. So you can have 2 bursts. I mean, just keep on going. That's a no-brainer. Killjaden's Cunning lets you cast while moving for 8 seconds, and Manaroth's Fury allows you to increase the area of effect of your AoE spells by 500%, and 100% of the damage will be increased as well. That's just dumb. I think that's just silly. Finally, we have level 100. So, Soulburn Haunt, Cataclysm, or Demonic Servitude. Now, in this case, you must take Soulburn Haunt. Take it. Don't take anything else. Soulburn Haunt. You have to. I command you. Do it. Soulburn Haunt makes you have that Soulburn Haunt ability, which is, once you Soulburn and then Haunt, it makes your 30% damage or haste increase from Soulburn, or actually, I'm sorry, damage increase from Haunt go to 50%. So it's basically like 1.5 times damage on everything. Cataclysm is kind of silly. It just is an AoE little, hit. It's not that great. Demonic Servitude lets you maintain control over a demon. So essentially, you can have Doomguards or Infernals as permanent pens, which is kind of cool, but it's not worth it when you have something like Soulburn Haunt. So let's recap. Dark Regeneration, Shadow Fury, Sacrificial Pact, Blood Horde, Grimoire of Sacrifice, Archimonde's Darkness, and finally Soulburn Haunt. And that is what we've got. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and talk about your glyphs. Now, for this, these are kind of they're pretty, you pretty much have to take these. They're pretty self-explanatory. The most important one of all, Glyph of Unstable Affliction, reduces the cast time of Unstable Affliction by 25%. Must have. You gotta buy it. Glyph of Siphon Life, I'd also strongly recommend. It makes your corruption spell basically tick at you with heals constantly when it's ticking. So that's awesome. Every time it ticks, you get a heal. Finally, Glyph of Healthstone. It doubles the healing of your Healthstone and makes it hot for 10 seconds. Heal over time. So that's so worth it. Miners are not mandatory. I just pick Soulwell because it looks cool. Nightmares because it gives me water walking, and I don't even have another one because, I mean, whatever. Yeah, is there anything we even want? Well, how about that? So yep, there we have it. There is our glyphs and talents. Now finally, I'm going to talk, well, not finally necessarily, talk really quickly about my opinion about the state of Affliction. It's fucking awesome. They finally brought it back, which makes me happy because for quite a while it wasn't considered the best spec anymore just because, I don't know, because Blizzard. But it is, and I'm happy. I definitely enjoy, more than anything, just playing Affliction. Just the feeling that you get when you play it is, in my opinion, amazing, and I would never not do it. So, always recommend Affliction. We're in a really good spot right now. Just gotta have your rotation down, have your gameplay settings right. Just practice and you'll be there. Now, finally, talk about my transmog because like I said, I have been asked several times, strangely enough, about it. So, we have the hood is Sanctified Dark Coven hood, and then Sanctified Dark Coven shoulder pads, Sanctified Dark Coven robe. I think you know where we're going with this. Is the Sanctified Dark Coven set, and then the belt is the Crushing Cold Wraith, or Cold Wraith belt. Now I got it all from well, first of all, you have to get the Dark Coven set, which you can just buy with Justice, and then you have to get Sanctified by doing the, well, you can get it in either red or green. It's gonna be 25 player ICC, so Ice Crown Citadel. Go through, and then you got to get the token drops, which you can find on Wildhead. The 25-man ones are for the green, and the 25-man heroic are for the red. Then you can just trade out your set with the token and get green or red. So there you go. Sanctified Dark Coven set. So thank you guys so much for checking this out. I know that for quite a long time I wasn't around, but I want you to know that these videos are going to become regular. We'll do different games, mainly WoW for now, but there will be Destiny. I'm even planning on doing a little gameplay walkthrough of Outlast on the PlayStation 4, maybe some Grand Theft Auto 5, some Steam, plenty of stuff. If there's any questions you have about WoW or any other game stuff you want to see, drop it in a comment right now or send me a direct message. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, let me know that I did well, and let me know that you guys want to see some more. And there should be an Affliction PvP Battleground video with me and my friends pretty soon. So be looking out for that. And again, thank you guys, and always good gaming. And this has been Mcsquee from Mcsquee Gaming. Take it easy.